All right, hi Neil. Good
Hey,
morning.
Precious, how are you? Good morning.
I'm good. Happy New
Happy
Week.
Monday.
Yeah, it's Monday. How was your weekend?
Good, good. It was busy, but it was good.
Mine was beautiful. Liverpool won the
Oh,
league.
nice. Congrats. You
Yeah,
excited?
Liverpool won the league, and yeah, it was exciting. Yeah,
Nice. Who did they play against? Liverpool versus?
yeah, they played with Tottenham
Okay,
Hotspur.
okay,
Yeah, but it's the league, so it's like a year-long league. Yeah.
okay, okay.
Still have
Oh,
like 4 or 5 games to go, but we're already champions.
awesome. Sweet.
Yeah.
That's great. Um, all right. So, another week, another set of exciting AI news, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's always something. There's always something every week, and of course, that's what we're here to talk about it on this podcast. Keep you up to date with what's popping, what's happening, especially from the developer point of view. But yeah, last week, by the way, we had a Twitter space. If you go on our Twitter to Blian, you should see the record. I think it's there. A lot of people shared a lot of insights on how they are using AI. It's always good to see developers come and talk about these tools and what they think. Because yeah, I mean, building it, those building it are building it, but those using it, they also have like what they think. So yeah, it was an interesting thing to see. Yeah.
It was interesting to see how I mean, there's a bit of negative reaction against vibe coding from software developers,
Yeah,
and and I think that there's a bit of we need to be very clear about where vibe coding plays a very important role versus where we come in. I think that distinction is kind of important to understand. But it was fun. I really enjoyed it.
yeah, it was
Uh,
fun.
so I'm gonna jump in the first. I don't know. Maybe this last week was the only week where we didn't get a major uh, model update news from big providers, or maybe not. I could be wrong, but we do have an
I
interesting
have one
update.
I have one of my updates.
Oh, okay, cool, good. Because I didn't catch it my stuff. Anyway, so this is an interesting. This is a French company, a startup called Pleias. They focused heavily on creating ethical AI, right? I mean, creating AI models that are fair, transparent, accountable, respects your privacy and rights. Kind of very important, right? Because we get lots of models get backslash for being biased and whatnot. So they're taking a very ethical AI approach, which I respect, a huge respect for them. But they released a small scale AI models that is built in with citations, um, specifically targeting enterprise use. And so these are small models, all open source. I mean, we'll provide the link here. You can go download from Hugging Face. These are small in terms of, we talk about like 8 billion parameters, 405 billion parameters like llama and whatnot. They released two models. Their RAG model is around 350 million, not billion. And their another model is like their another, I'm saying, which is probably medium sized model, 1 billion parameter. The interesting bit is obviously ethical training means this model is going to be fair and and going to be transparent with you how it's processing the data, which is kind of important. But this has a great citation capability. So I'm working on it. It's going to be get released. It's sort of a secret project. I'm working with a friend of mine here, where we are trying to build a deep research tool. We're going to open source it, obviously, for enterprise. You know how your ChatGPT has deep research when you type stuff in and it goes out and scans all that stuff.
Yeah.
We're doing something for within enterprise. So if you're a large enterprise is going to have multiple data sources, right? They might have Google Drive, they might have Confluence, they might have Wiki, right? Uh, ChatGPT Deep Research cannot access those data because those are all within the boundary of an enterprise. So you're kind of building open researcher sort of a tool that will work within the enterprise. So this will be a tremendous, an Apache license too. That means it's free for commercial use. So we could definitely use this model. the biggest thing we need for enterprises that when you're saying, hey, yeah, find me this relevant information, and you go find it, you also have to make sure where that information reside, right? So link the document and the references. So having that built in a model, especially small scale, and best part of this is that it is designed to run on a low resource devices. So potentially can run in your cell phone or with CPU. So you don't need GPUs and stuff to run this model. So I thought that was really, really exciting.
Oh wow, wow. I mean, models that can run on cell phones, that would be grand.
The game changer, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a game changer. I
And
mean,
and it's performing well. I mean, you know how I feel about this leaderboard stuff, but
yes.
apparently it's really performing well compared to small llama models like 4 billion parameter. Even being smaller, it's actually outperforming llama 4 billion model,
Oh,
which is really, really good.
oh wow. And I also think a lot of people have been talking about security, data, how data is being used, and it's also very interesting to see that that was even the some of the things that they kept top of their list when they started building this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I mean, it's interesting. So now talking about security, the first one I want to talk about today is the mm, a lab, right? Like they call themselves Endor Lab. They released an AI agent called AppSec. So AppSec, which fully means app security, right? So what they tend to do, or what they were trying to do, is to build an AI agent that provides security for vibe coding. I don't know if that makes sense. So these AI agents, what they do, they're in between the prompt you're writing and the code that the AI is generating for you, right? So these guys, to support this, they release like two tools in line with this. So they are launching these two tools. The capability of these tools are very interesting capabilities, which is why I said I must talk about it here, right? So the first one is AI code review. Now, architectural changes, as we know, can affect
Mm-hmm.
the security posture of your applications, right? So
Mm-hmm.
now, what this agent do is that they sit in every pull request. So when you integrate them, they sit in the pull request, and for every pull request that you make, they check for security, make sure that this code are the right codes, this code are okay, these codes don't have any security loopholes on them, which I find very interesting because it's not just doing your code review for you, it is doing security code review for you, right? Now, and I mean, developers can have access to it. I will drop the link later, right? So also they detect and fix vulnerability in AI generated code. So you can integrate them using multiple processes. That is another interesting thing. So they have an MCP, they have API, they also have like CLI, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you can actually integrate it using different methods. So you can either integrate with CLI or API or MCP. Now, that now gives them the ability to detect and fix vulnerabilities. So you can actually like have an API integrated where you just give it access to your code, and then it goes into your code and check for security loopholes, check security vulnerability. And another interesting thing is that you can integrate it on your vibe coding tool. So you can integrate it on Cursor AI, you can integrate it with GitHub Copilot. Yeah. And I think it's an interesting tool given the fact that I mean security has been the major problem. And I think also part of the things that were mentioned on the Twitter space on Saturday when people were saying that, oh, you're not even sure of the code you're generating. These things are just generating bunch of code. You don't
Mm-hmm.
understand. You don't know what is going on within this code. So,
Yeah.
and you remember the guy that asked the question of an AI that will check to know if the code we are generating is correct.
Mm-hmm.
So,
There are actually tools out there called peer reviewer. So we have it. We use the Google Gemini one.
okay.
I My personal experience has been with this. I'm sure this tool I might have to get deep down and see how they're doing it.
Yeah.
I understand how MCP server might be really interesting because ideally you like to catch these errors before they get merged, right? So typically they try to move the problem to left as much as possible. So while developer is building it, if you can say, hey, that's you are hard coding the AWS key there, maybe you should not be doing that. I know I'm taking a stupid example, but and stuff like that immediately, the sooner you catch things, better, right? Pull requests might feel a little late, but it's good enough. So I think MCP might be really interesting. When it comes to pull requests, I've noticed lots of tools doesn't have the bigger context of what's happening. So they give silly feedback like, oh, you should comment here, you should comment there, which sometimes become noise. So for our case, I'll be very transparent. The Gemini PR that we're using, I mean, I either have to figure it out how to provide a better instruction. It's just literally becoming noise now. It
Yeah.
does review our pull requests, but the recommendations are so dumb, to be honest, that I started ignoring them completely. So I'm sure this tool's going to get better. So there is a bit of issue there as well.
Yeah.
But security is, you're absolutely right. I mean, uh, starting from prompt injection issues to people openly sharing keys are problems that are going to show up. We're going to be reinventing software engineering through vibe coding again.
Yeah.
Um, all right. So my next story is RAGEN. This is sort of a research paper. So we started evolving into this format where we started to include some research paper. I feel like we should keep a tap on
Yeah.
it. What's happening? So the interesting thing to note here is that so they are trying to figure out this research paper proposed some new ideas to improve the reliability of AI agents. Now, I'm not a machine learning expert, but fundamentally, the way some of the training happens is that at a very crude high level is that we provide some sort of training data, right? Based
Yeah.
on this input, here is the expected output, and model kind of sorts of builds a pattern over this input and output. Okay, for this one, I need to generate something similar, right? But when you have agentic sort of processes, it's not one shot anymore, right? You have to you give a very high level goal and objective, and agent needs to do multiple iterations to figure it out. And especially as we building real world agents like controlling your browser or code based running tools, running tests might fail in a very weird different way. Sometimes model this agents gets really confused. I don't know how to handle this error. I probably haven't seen this kind of error. So they're creating a very innovative framework, which they call STAR PO, which stands for State Thinking Actions Reward Policy Optimization. So a mouthful. Uh, that's going to train this model in a unique way that will be more tuned to this unknowns, right? The models, these agents will be smart enough now to navigate unknown scenarios and kind of manage those. So one of I mean, lots of big names are involved here, including Microsoft, Stanford, and University of Washington. There is also a former DeepSeek researcher working on this. So this goes into what we keep saying, right? I mean, I think we're going to see drastic improvements on reliability of these agents and the models, and fine-tuned to handle this multi-step scenarios and objectives. I'm going to paste the link in here. I did already. Okay, cool. Precious, what do you think? These agents are getting really, really smart. You're on mute.
Sorry about that. I always don't mute myself. Okay. So I think it's very important. I love the fact that academia, like research papers are coming out, schools are coming out to be part of what is happening in the AI space. Because I mean, immediately OpenAI dropped ChatGPT, everybody was like, the floodgate was open and a lot of things started happening. But now we are seeing people releasing papers, coming up with processes, deep research on how we can, manage, control the use and how these things work. So I think this is really a very interesting one. Having frameworks around AI is going to be very, very interesting. And I even think that we are going to start seeing um, how do they call it? Like standardized prompts. I was thinking
Mhm.
about it over the weekend. We're going to start seeing standardized prompts over time, right?
Mhm.
How prompts should be written, how this should be used,
Mhm.
and things are standard over a period. So if I am typing it and 10 other people are typing it also, they are typing the same thing if they want the same output, right? So we're going to start seeing standardized.
So I'm going to push back a little bit on that. Um, I was with you there like 12 months back when prompt engineering was a big thing. Like you should understand that. I think it's still very important. You have
Yeah.
no idea how many times I should have provided some examples. So there is sort of standards already in terms of right. Um, when you're doing large prompts, you always provide set of examples for models so that it understands what's right, what's wrong.
Yeah.
But I think what these research papers are doing in turn is that they come from the other angle and saying that no, we can make this models even better. Even if your prompts are not that very clear, it should be able to figure things out.
Okay.
English going to become the most popular programming language.
Yeah, English is
Already is probably. Yeah.
going to win. All right. So, I mean, you talked about major story the last time, and I think Grok and XAI, which is, I mean, X is Elon Musk. Everybody knows that right now. So,
Mhm.
XAI and Grok, I think they are a force to reckon with. So, they launched a new. They launched what they call Grok Studio. Now, Grok Studio is not different from Lovable.dev. It's not different from Firestore or something like that Google launched.
Firebase.
Firebase, right? So it's not different from any of those tools. Which is, I asked this question last week and I'm asking it again. What is in there that everybody's looking for? But theirs is a little bit simpler. They didn't do something very special like Firebase, just that they improved their model and they have. I used this for the first time yesterday, right? The Grok Studio, their interface. So then they built the way ChatGPT have Canvas and then Gemini have Canvas also. They built this thing like Canvas and then the canvas, it just opens up. You give it a prompt, tell it that, oh, I'm trying to create this type of game. And then it goes on to start, building the game for you. So now, why is it different from the other ones? Because these days I try to know, okay, you don't just launch a new tool. Tell me what's the difference. Why should I use
Mhm.
AI or ChatGPT to come with yours, right? Now, I think they focus theirs on gaming. So I went on TikTok, I mean, new ways of trying to research these things. I went on TikTok and I put in Grok Studio, and then just to get a feel of what other people are doing with it. And then I noticed that a lot of other people are using it to build games. I saw this guy that did a very nice ping pong game with it. So it prides itself in doing more critical stuff and
Mhm.
then able to generate random codes in not random code like difficult codes, build difficult things in a very short period of time. Now I tried it myself. I tried to create a snake game. I don't know if you know the snake game. Moving on. I tried to create a snake game. It didn't work for me.
It didn't.
It didn't work for me. Yeah. So, in fact, as I am talking here, I just opened it and it is still loading the JS file that it created for the game. This is almost, I mean, I started doing this 20 minutes before we started this
Well, it's
podcast.
okay. I mean, it's a new tool. It's going to take some
Yeah,
time. Where is the
yeah,
URL? I was googling it. I can't see it. I see grok.com. Is that the place to
yeah.
go?
Grok.com is the URL. Yeah, so you just go in there. and
Okay.
then
I just want to share with everyone here.
yeah,
Okay, okay.
comment.
I heard few people kind of recommend, hey, I started using Grok. They're really good, like for day-to-day use.
Yeah.
You know how we go to ChatGPT instead of ChatGPT there.
If you're doing like let's say you're trying to understand some mathematics and so like
Mm,
the engineering.
mm,
So if you're in
yeah,
school, you're a student, you're trying to understand mathematics, so you're trying to understand simple
yeah,
arithmetic and all. Yeah,
yeah.
it works for it.
Okay.
It's I think
One interesting thing it does is it also has a deep research, right? That's one of the things I use to sort of scan what's happening, right? It
yeah,
does include it does use Twitter as a data source as well. So it's going to
yeah,
link some latest tweets. So which I thought was interesting because then if you're doing some analysis on some latest story, you can get relevant tweets which can give you some different perspectives. So which I thought was kind of interesting.
yeah.
Yeah, this space is so crowded. How do you people decide? I mean, just nightmare. I mean, every company is trying to replace us, man. What can we do? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. They're not replacing us.
They're not replacing us.
They just this tells you how important we are. The software is going to be the most critical bit. I mean, our civilization runs on software. I
Yeah,
mean, I completely believe in Jevons paradox. Our market's going to 10x. It's
yeah,
already expanding. Everything will be running on software.
yeah.
So my next story is kind of interesting one. So we talked about Codex CLI, right? Which I'm in my to-do list to play with because they are terminal-based coding agent. Our Tubulian dev agent is also terminal-based. I'm planning to do comparison this week. Maybe share that next on next podcast. So Claude also have something similar. I think they call it Claude Code. The fundamental difference between Codex CLI, Claude Code, and Tubulian and Dev Agent is Tubulian Dev Agent is free for people to use, but the code is not. It's not open source. Claude Code is also not open source, but you can download. I think it's not free. You have to connect your Claude API key, and it will use that API key. Codex is open source, but you still have to use API key. Well, I'm sure that's kind of clear. Okay, all right. So some developer, it's a download. It's a run locally. All of these three tools run locally: Tubulian Dev Claude Code, and Codex CLI. But some developer used the reverse engineer the Claude code that he downloaded. Obviously, it's not open source. They have a very restrictive license apparently. And the Anthropic sent out an DMCA takedown notice for reverse engineering the code.
Oh wow.
Um, yeah. um, so I mean, legally they're allowed to, right? Because you're violating the license of and lots of developers very we don't have a good understanding of software developer license work, so we have to be very careful. Everyone, anytime you download a software, try to use it. If you're building a SaaS product, commercial product, or anything out there, or even open sourcing it, any library you include and add, please make sure you understand the licensing agreement. Is it Apache license? It is LGPL, GPL, so that you don't get into situations like this, which I thought was interesting because we developers tend to. I mean, there is a reason why maybe at some point we will open source our Tubulian developer agent code base some point.
Yeah.
But I thought that was sort of an interesting story. We haven't had stories like this, that DMs take down notice for a software developer. But anyway.
Yeah, I mean, remember last week we talked about dev mode, right? So
Oh, that's right. That's exactly what I was thinking when I put the story in our queue. That hey,
yes,
this is very similar to that.
yeah, the last week we talked about dev mode between Figma and then I think
Uh,
right, so all those guys.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's I think we're going to start seeing that thing happen a lot now in the AI space because everybody's
yeah.
AI agent. And by the way, while I was thinking, working last week, I thought of it that the way we have the app era, we had the internet era, we had the social media era that gave birth to Facebook, Twitter, and then when Google and probably I think Apple launched the App Store, people started building apps, with websites, people started building websites, we are launching websites for business. I think we are sort of in an agent era, or we are going into an agent era where we are
Oh
going
yeah, for sure.
to
This is the year of AI agents.
yeah, the way people were building apps like crazy, app to help you cook food, app to help you talk, app to help you take care of your baby, we are going to start seeing agents for everything, agents
Mm.
for, and it's even crazy because we are going to start seeing. I was thinking about it the other day. How does AI agents affect the banking sector? I mean, I live in Nigeria. Banking is huge because of our economy, right? Fintech is everywhere. How are they using AI in those spaces? Who is building agents for these guys? So we are sort of in that era. So the way we had app era and everything era, we are in an AI agent era. And I think we should all be aware of that. And then if you're a developer, I think this is the best time to learn how to build AI agents. I mean, I don't really advise people, but I must say this is not a financial advice, but this is the right time to learn how to build AI agents.
I
Maybe,
100% agree. 100%
maybe,
agree.
maybe through Tubian community, we can kind of find a way to organize something.
We should. We are thinking of, right. I mean, maybe we should do that hackathon. Completely focus on building AI agents. I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah, yeah. Because I really believe we should all learn how to build AI agents, especially if you're a developer. You know how to write Python, learn how to build AI agents. So yeah. All right. So I have a last story.
Mhm.
I mean, I didn't know we'll have the time to talk about this, but it's also a very interesting one. So Mozilla, right,
Mhm.
partnered with another company called the Ele Eleuta AI.
Eleuther AI. Mhm.
Eleuta AI, right? And they launched like some toolkits. And these toolkits are to make building ethical open source data sets. So you know how
Oh,
people
that's cool. That's
yeah,
very cool.
so you know how people build people just scrape the internet and they just build stuff. So someone can actually go to, for example, someone can go to our Discord, scrape all the data, we just copy it and use it to train a model, and then the model can probably be answering questions on AI and all those stuff. So they're trying to like to make building ethical data sets easier for developers, right? Because we're going to see we already established that we're in an AI era, so we're going to see a lot of people building agents. So, how do we make sure that the data we are using to train these agents that they have they are ethical and they are they are sourced the right way? So they built these two kits, right? The first
Mhm.
two they released two toolkits. The first one is a guide to transcribing audio files using open source Whisper models.
Mhm.
So they could it to the tool they are doing this thing is called speeches.
Mhm.
Speeches. So
Whisper is the model that OpenAI uses.
yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So this is the open source version of that. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So they created a tool called Speeches, and then it's privacy focused and self-hosted. So you just it helps you to basically transcribing audio files. Definitely, I'm going to check it because we are thinking of transcribing, our audio from this podcast and maybe writing a blog or see
Oh,
someone.
that'd be good. You should vibe code this, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I'm definitely going to buy this.
Mhm.
See
Yeah, that'll be
what
awesome. We'll use that tool. Yeah, totally.
and see what I can get out of it. So the second toolkit they did is for converting unstructured documents like PDFs,
Mhm.
Word files, HTMLs into clean Markdown formats.
Mhm.
You know
Mhm.
how data they come in forms of they come in
Right.
different forms. Word, HTML. People like today I copied the whole website. I gave it to ChatGPT and I said, "Hey, do this for me." I didn't care, about the header, the footer. I just copied everything because the data I needed, what I needed, I wanted to ask a couple of questions and then get the answers from there.
So that Dockling is a. I've been hearing about this for
Yeah,
last few weeks. I don't think we covered this as a news because he didn't make the cut. Right? We have so many news time.
yeah,
I heard this, but one interesting thing about Dockling is that not only it can convert this document sets, apparently it has an OCR too, the optical character recognition. That means if your files have some, I mean, let's say you're building some machine learning model for invoices, right? Invoice scanning. Sometimes invoices could have handwritten signatures and numbers and stuff.
Yeah.
Apparently, it can scan those things too. So that makes it even more powerful.
Yeah. So yeah, it's really an interesting one. So these tools are available for free on Mozilla Blueprint Hub. So yeah, you can check it out and then tell us what you think. I am going to also check it out, play around with it a little bit, especially the audio to text model and see what I can type up.
So I have a last news. There's some sort of an O'Reilly is organizing a coding with AI conference or event, and it's free for anyone to join. I'll post this in here, the
Okay.
link. It's called Coding with AI: The End of Software Development as We Know It. so
I like
so
that.
Adi Osmani, I have a huge respect for this individual. I think he's part of a Google Chrome development team. Uh, writes an amazing blog. I follow his blogs. So he's part of this fireside chat. So I would assume that this is going to be really, really good. So it's free to sign up. It's on May 8th. It's 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. ED Eastern Time. I'm sure it's going to be very educational. I will sign up too. You
All
should
right.
too, Precious.
Yeah, I will. All right. So okay. Thank you. So we have about 10 people live with us. I think
Oh, nice.
yeah, we have about it just dropped. Okay. So
Well, thanks for hanging us with that.
yeah, if you're here, can you drop a comment so we can see you and give you a shout out? Yeah. And then tell us if there are things you want to be part of, or some things you want us to review, or some things you want us to talk about, a concept you want us to break down for you on this podcast. You can drop the topic on the comment sections. You can also drop in our community or anywhere. You can send me a message. You can also message to Blian on Twitter or LinkedIn anywhere, and we're going to see it and we'll talk about it here. Right. So if you can please drop us a message in the chat. We are going to see you. I'm going to call your name and give you a shout out. So if you do that, I would really appreciate that. All right. So since we launched our dev agent, I don't think we've said much about it on this podcast. But
Mhm.
Thursday, it's 1st of May, it's Workers' Day, it's holiday. So if you are on holiday, you should join us. I don't know if it's holiday in the US, but it's holiday here in Nigeria, Workers' Day. Right.
I'm not sure. After I went independent, I don't keep
Oh,
track of holidays anymore. Maybe it is. I don't know.
yeah. So it's holiday here in Nigeria. So if you're on holiday, you should definitely join us on a session. I think we have about 30 people already registered for that session. I just sent out the email this morning, and a lot of people have been registering for the session. So we're going to show you the power of this AI agent. And then if you're already thinking about AI assisted coding, which we've been talking about for a while, AI assisted coding, you should also like check it out. Join us on Thursday. It's going to be an interesting session. I will be here with one of our engineers here at Sublian, so it's going to be hands-on. I will be showing on the Windows side of things. You will also be showing how to use the agents on a MacBook, right? So the installation process, everything. We're going to talk about it. Right. Okay.
All right, cool. Awesome.
Awesome. Thank you so
All
much.
right. Yeah, I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye bye.